Welcome to the Andy Staples Show. It is the week of the NCAA tournament. By the time you've heard this, there will have been a couple of first four games. There are a couple more first four games on Wednesday night. This is my last show before the tournament starts in earnest. And as such, I learned this week that I would be fired. This podcast would be canceled, would be nuked off the face of the earth if we didn't give you a bracket of some kind. So I put it out to the people. Bill Landis, our Ohio State beat writer at The Athletic, said I should seed seeds. I thought about it for a second, and I realized sunflower seeds will beat sesame seeds in the national championship game, and I can't come up with 64 different kinds of seeds or things to say about them. Ari and I texted back and forth. You guys had some good ideas, but Ari had the best idea, and we decided to do college football cliches. It is the college football cliche tournament. And me and Ari Wasserman are going to play it out today. Ari, you have contributed most of these, I must say.
I think you did most of them.
College football cliches is tremendous.
Yeah, well, I mean, yours is too. But it's so funny because you have to take them through the regions because the regions are hilarious because there's all sorts of cliches. The ones that coaches say, the ones that we say. Just take them through the regions. I think they were very funny the way you
yes,
put it
together. We have the cliches because they're true region. And when we get to the Final Four, the champion of that region will meet the champion of the code words region. Those are words that people say but clearly mean something else. On the other side of the bracket, we got the in the crowd / on your TV region. I was going to do a complete region of schools making fun of other schools, but I realized we got to get some TV cliches in there, announcer cliches in there as well. And then, of course, we've got the press conference standards region. These are things you'll hear in every single press conference. So, Ari, let's get right to it. We're going to start with the cliches because they're true, and it's self-explanatory. These are things that every coach, player, whatever says. They're also correct. Like the reason they keep saying them is because it's how it goes. But
they're also cliches that we say because some coaches would never say some of these. So,
yes. Well, the number one seed in this region.
The number one overall seed in the tournament, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely the number one overall seed in the tournament. Stars matter. Number one versus number 16. The triple option is a big play offense, which nobody says except triple option coaches, but I've heard that one from Paul Johnson a few times, and he's not wrong, Ari.
Yeah, the triple play option or the triple option is a big offense. It's like a 38-point underdog in this game. So I think that it's a funny thing to say, and I've bet enough triple option overs to kind of question the validity of that.
The thing is, though, like when a triple option team just like when Army played Houston in that bowl game a few years ago, and it goes when it goes bad against a triple option team, it goes bad.
Yeah, I feel like a triple option is a big play offense when they're playing another team that's similarly athletic.
Yes,
if they're playing a team that's much more athletic than them, then they use it to weaponize the clock. So there are two types of ways that a triple option will happen if you bet on it. One, the number will be somewhere like 53 and it'll go to 100, or it is painfully low because the triple option team is actually beating the better team and using the clock to their advantage. So stars matter, I think, is a clear I mean, I don't even know how I could possibly throughout the entire podcast say that my life motto loses. So you're going to have to push me if and when
I've got some sleepers down the way that I have some faith in, Ari. But okay, there's a reason we remember the only 16 that ever beat a 1, UMBC over Virginia a few years ago. It's not happening here. Stars matter advances in a rout. So let's go to the one I think can beat Stars matter in this bracket, though. I mean, we should probably put these up to a vote of the people.
Sure. And
we don't have to
I'm
decide
assuming you're going to do this, but we will also put the bracket out for the people so they can follow along as we're talking.
The entire bracket will be available on my Twitter feed at Andy_Staples, on Ari's Twitter feed at Ari Wasserman. We'll also put it out on Instagram. Ari's a big Instagram guy. I need to be better at Instagram. And once I get my six-pack, I will just post shirtless photos on Instagram all the time.
That's what six-packs are for, right?
I don't have a ton of faith in myself, but if I just starve myself.
Wait, is that your goal?
I wouldn't mind, Ari.
Is that your legitimate, like, do you think about it? Like, I want to achieve a six-pack.
I would like to look like an underwear model. Yes, I would. That would be awesome.
Well, you got the face for it, but I'm pulling.
I would just thank you. But nobody's looking at your face when you're an underwear model, so it doesn't really matter.
Somebody sent me a meme on Instagram today, actually, that said, "What you think happens when you start lifting weights?" And it's like a guy with a bunch of like bikini models around him, and then what actually happens, and it's just a bunch of dudes asking him.
It's just a bunch of dudes like, sweet. We were gonna do.
What kind of creatine do you take?
We were gonna do a lifts bracket, and I was actually in the gym when Ari and I were texting back and forth about this, and in between sets, and I was watching a husband and wife do Bulgarian split squats together. It was one of the most romantic things I ever saw. Bulgarian split squats, by the way, would have been definitely one of those 5 seeds that could win the entire tournament. But all right, let's go to the 2 seed in the cliches because they're true bracket, because I really think this one can beat Stars Matter. Number 2, low man wins versus number 15, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. 15 is not always true. It is true sometimes, and that's why it's a 15 seed. Low man wins is true 100% of the time.
So we're advancing them based on which one we actually believe is true, or which one makes your skin.
We're going to let the people do it. We don't even have to do this, Ari. We'll let the people decide. We'll just go. We'll put it out for a vote.
Okay.
We'll have them vote on Wednesday and Thursday, and on on Friday's show we can talk about it.
I think that hard work beats talent is underseeded. I think it should be a higher seed. It won its conference tournament, I guess.
Ari, you're Stars Matter guy. Why are you saying
what do you think
talent?
People say to me every single time they try to argue with me about it? It's a cliche that's, I guess, I don't know. Cliches that are true.
Thing. But because number 15 is sometimes true, and number 2 is always true, like because number 15 is sometimes true, that means number 1 is not always true. But number 2 is always true. Low man always wins.
Okay, low man wins, advances.
Always.
All right, next one.
All right. Number 3, keep your head on a swivel versus number 14, the hidden yards are on special teams. I might have underseeded the hidden yards are on special teams. I feel like that's an important thing. But keep your head on a swivel. That's not just good football advice. That's good life advice, Ari.
Yeah, that one advances no problem. And it's also really, really good term that you can use in other walks of life. Like
exactly. Like you're in college, you're walking into the bar, boys, keep your head on a swivel.
Yeah, you're at a restaurant and you like to stock what other people are eating, so you got to keep your head on a swivel to see what the waiter is bringing out to make sure you're ordering the right thing.
Oh, I have big time somebody else's entree FOMO. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Because I'll clutch that menu, and I want to see, if I'm in a new place, I want to see an example of everything come out of the kitchen before I make a decision.
My father pretends like he's going to the bathroom sometimes and will walk around a restaurant and look at what other people have on their dishes.
Yeah.
Because it's the eye test.
We're not gonna go through every single one of these. Again, you will be able to see the bracket yourself. You will be able to vote on the bracket yourself. I'll start the voting I might even start the voting, Ari, on Tuesday night while I'm watching the first 4 games. So
yes, that's good. All right. Why don't you breeze through this one though? Because I think the other 3 are the much funnier brackets.
Oh yeah. All right. We'll do this last one in the cliches because they're true bracket. Here's another one I think is a nice sleeper pick. Number 7, ball security is job security, which Jesse Temple from our Wisconsin beat writer, and of course someone who watches a lot of Wisconsin football would say this, because that's how you get to be the number 1 back. That's how you get to be Jonathan Taylor or Monte Ball. Like, ball security is job security versus number 10, play 60 minutes. You don't actually have to play all. Like, if you have a great 38 minutes, you can win a game.
Ball security is job security is definitely going, especially now that I know where it came from.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The number 7 seed in a region is the most Wisconsin thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Absolutely. Wisconsin basketball may be a little overseeded in this tournament. Wisconsin football always underseeded. So yeah, I think you're right about that. All right, let's get to the code words bracket. This might be my favorite bracket.
This is the best bracket. I'm with you.
This is the one. Listen, somebody says it. That's not exactly what they mean, but we know what they mean because we follow college football. We love this stuff. Number 1 seed, I committed because of the family atmosphere. Versus number 16, he's twitchy.
Yeah. And the twitchy one is kind of a NFL draft one. But yeah, I committed because of the family atmosphere. Or what did you like about them? They had a family atmosphere. But what does that mean?
Translation, they gave me a duffel bag full of cash.
Yeah, but what does that actually mean?
That's what that means.
I don't want to go to a program that has an atmosphere like my family. Like, it's toxic.
Everyone's just yelling at each other all the time. Yeah. Nobody can. There's no peace.
Yeah, if it was like a family atmosphere for when I was growing up, the head coach would be telling the players to go get a job. Oh man, that one's funny.
You need to go out and get some NIL deals.
Yeah. Okay, but I think family atmosphere definitely advances.
All right, number 2. We want to be a blue-collar team versus number 15. They came here to get a great education. Which, listen, when David Shaw says that, I believe him. I don't believe every coach when they say that. Not to demean anyone's alma mater here, but you know who you are.
You know what I don't understand is like this false arrogance about where you went to school for people. It's just like, I went to Arizona. It was what it was. It's a bachelor's degree, and it got me into a field I want to work in. But I don't walk around acting like my education is any better than anybody else's. It's just the run of the mill. It's the run of the mill state school that I went to all these Power 5 schools. Like there's like 5 or 6, and then every other Power 5 school is the same.
Well, I gotta say, people from my alma mater are getting a little uppity about the education there.
Yeah, well,
and I realize it's harder to get into Florida than it was when I got in there, but
how does that work?
It still ain't Harvard, guys.
If a school is harder to get into 20 years after you went or 5 years after you went, do you get to harness the prestigiousness of the new version of that university?
I don't think so, but plenty of my fellow graduates apparently do. Judging by how they U of A lorded over some other folks.
The Harvard of the Southwest. Do I get to pretend like my education is superior to yours?
You are Harvard with Sonoran dogs. That's what Arizona is.
Andy, I think I'm going to offend some people here. And I offend my editor all the time, but I think education, unless you are a lawyer or a doctor or going to grad school for a very specific field, is the most overrated thing on the face of the planet.
Oh, I'm 100% in agreement.
I think
College
it's all about
learning how to live
and learning how to live. Yeah.
Learning how to live on your own, basically. That's what college is for.
And you make
unless you are learning a trade. Now, if you're learning to be an architect, that's very useful.
But it's a very specific field. But 85% of people who end up in school don't even know what they're going to study their freshman year.
Well, and this brings me to the number 2 seed, which is one of my favorite code word cliches. We want to be a blue collar team, and the Uni Watch guy, Paul Lucas, always talks about the fetishization of blue collar workers. Like, I don't want a blue collar team. I want a team that's going to short the subprime mortgage market and make billions of dollars while the world burns. Like, I want a white collar team. I don't want a team that can build a skyscraper. I want a team that can design a skyscraper.
Yes. Also, the person who's coaching the team is a white collar worker. So
now.
Yeah. Lincoln Riley, that's not a blue collar house. Yeah, that's hilarious. What does that mean? Like, they're going to work hard? You can work hard, but not use a hammer. I think I work hard.
I don't think we work hard at all.
I think that Bishop Sycamore days, that was a hard day's work.
No. Every single person who puts roofs on houses in the state of Florida in the summer works harder in one day than we work in an entire year.
Yeah.
So
coal mining.
Right. No.
Anything that you can do in your pajamas is not a hard job.
Okay, yeah. And we should have put this in the cliches because they're true or the press conference standards bracket. Work smart, not hard. Is that not what coaches say?
Yeah. I mean, there's levels. I think working hard equates to effort. So just because it's not a physically challenging job doesn't mean that it doesn't take effort. But blue collar is like what you would just assume as people who work with their hands, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it is. It's certainly something that we hear quite a bit, and why it's
good, honest. Like, there's nothing wrong with good, honest work. I get that. I get why that's why coaches do it. But
it's the backbone of our society.
But the amount of reward versus the amount of effort put forth, much higher in the white collar world.
It is.
Just saying.
It is. Yeah.
If you're looking for bigger rewards, then you should probably say you want to be a white collar team. All right. Number 6, discipline will be handled internally versus number 11. He's got a high motor. And it's funny because we have a couple of these where, we have he's sneaky fast is the 9 seed, which is which is facing, I can't speak about an ongoing investigation, which is the number 8 seed. The sneaky fast, that's code for he's a white guy who's fast. When he might actually just be fast, but that's what that code means.
I was doing a story on his name is escaping me right now, and it's embarrassing that it is the freshman running back at Clemson last year. So 5-star prospect, Will Shipley. That's right. I can't tell you how many times during the story reporting they said he was sneaky fast.
Yeah, no, he's just fast. Like, but the high motor thing, people assign a racial thing to that. I don't think the high motor thing has a racial aspect.
Well, what does a high motor mean? Like
it's always about a defensive end. Always. Like, I guarantee you there are running backs and offensive tackles and corners that also play with a high motor who give a lot of effort play after play. Like, but
because it's a linebacker term too.
We only talk about it with defensive ends.
Linebacker's a position that comes to mind too, but I guess there's a hybrid there. But yeah, it's always somebody who's rushing the quarterback.
Right.
Because they have to fight through an offensive tackle to get to the end, and then when they get to the end,
the inclination, I guess, is to take the occasional play off.
That's right.
So
okay.
That's I think that would be, but discipline will be handled internally. Another one of my favorites, because that could be anything. That could be there is no punishment. That could be he's suspended for a year. That could be he's running stadiums every day at 3:30 in the morning until he throws up. You just never know.
Yeah, no punishment at all most of the time, I think. Also, it's stop asking me questions about this topic. We're not discussing it anymore.
Yeah,
this could have been in the press conference region.
A lot of these in the code words are please stop asking this question. I do not want to talk about this anymore. All right. Speaking of that, I think my lowest seeded sleeper is the number 10 seed in this region. So number 7 versus number 10. Number 7 is we're going to do it the right way. Translation, we're going to break every single rule we can break. If there is a rule that hasn't been invented yet, we've already broken it, and then we'll break it. But number 10 is no interviews, respect my decision, which is code for I'm decommitting. Please don't be mean to me on social media about that.
Yeah. Also, every single person who says no interviews does interviews.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know why we mean no interviews, respect my decision. I don't know. Also, the people that are reading that are most likely to be the ones who do disrespect your decision. So, has anybody ever made a tough decision or decommitted from a program and written respect my decision, and then somebody read that and went, oh, okay, I was going to get angry, but now I'm not because I read that
Actually,
line.
Yes. Because it's like 50-50.
You think it works? You think it's effective?
50% of the people are furious. How dare you? Whatever. And 50% are like, okay, good luck with whatever you decide.
Because of the line?
No, because they're nice people.
Yeah, I just don't think that the line is effective.
It's
or
not
as effective as people think when they write it, but I think it's amazing. And
it's 17-year-olds. What do you expect?
Stars Matter on your lovely feed was almost named Respect My Decision.
That would have been great. No interviews, respect my decision would have been a little tougher because
we want interviews.
Literally going to have to do interviews on it.
We had a whole discussion about this. Yes.
All right, let's move on to the in the crowd / on your TV. These are either things that happen in the stadium, ways certain fan bases make fun of other certain fan bases, or things that announcers say over and over and over again. Number 1, quarterback and wide receiver are roommates. This could apply to Tim Tebow and Riley Cooper. This could apply to Colt McCoy and Jordan Shipley. You name it. We've heard that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, they're just on the same page. He knows exactly where to put the ball blindfolded. He and the receiver are roommates. Same thing, same page, same everything. Hear that all the time.
Number 16, the Oregon Duck physically menaces the other mascot. I do love that. Other than when the one dude slipped into the Ohio Bobcat costume and tackled Brutus Buckeye, like The Oregon Duck is the most consistently violent mascot, and I am here for it.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's like part of the job.
I think it is.
When you take go be violent. I once saw an assistant coach body slam a mascot before. No, that was a rushing the field fan. I'm confused.
There was a rushing the field
fan.
Ohio
Bobcat.
He was the head strength coach of the Jags last year.
Yes.
I wrote a feature on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a fun guy.
He is a fun guy.
Anthony Schlegel, former Buckeyes linebacker. So, but yeah, no, I the Oregon Duck, and I think usually the other mascot is just so stunned that the Oregon Duck is going straight WWE on it that they don't know what to do. But one of these days, that duck's going to run into something. Like, I bet it's at an NCAA tournament basketball game because that's where the mascot's getting really tight quarters. And, like, if you run into the Stephen F. Austin Lumberjack, like, dude has an axe.
What mascot would you scares you the most? There's one that makes me uncomfortable.
Pete.
Purdue Pete is scary. The Wake Forest Demon Deacon.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't want to see that when you open up your eyes.
He's
in the middle
a
of the
demonic
night.
church official.
It's terrifying.
Right. And he knows a devil down the road.
Yeah,
There's
I wouldn't
blue devil down the road that he's in cahoots with.
Could you imagine waking what would be that would be a funny bracket. The most terrifying mascot you could see standing in the corner of your room if you woke up in the middle of the night.
It is easily Purdue Pete. Brutus Buck. Pistol Pete from Oklahoma State is probably in there too. Yeah. Not only does he have that bulbous plastic head, he's armed.
But even like the playful ones would be scary because there's something scary about playfulness.
Well, it's like I hate clowns. Like clowns scare me.
Yeah.
Same concept. All right. We go to the 4-13 game in this one. Gators wear jean shorts versus LSU fans smell like corn dogs. I bumped the LSU one down because it's not true, obviously. And I've been around many LSU fans who didn't smell like corn dogs. They might have smelled like etouffee or gumbo or some other delicious concoction. They don't all smell like corn dogs. Gators wear jean shorts. Like, if you go to a Florida game, you will see, and we're talking about men here, because, like, it's acceptable for women to wear jean shorts. Daisy Duke made it a thing. It's great in some cases. It's never cool when men do it. It just doesn't look good.
That was like the number one thing that we wore during my childhood.
Well, and I wore them up until the end of my freshman year at Florida. So I was a Gator who wore jean shorts, and then I swore them off, and I've not worn them since.
Was it because they're not in style anymore?
Well, if we think about it, it is heavy denim, and you cut them off to make them shorts, but you're still wearing heavy denim in Florida in massive humidity, in searing heat. It's stupid. We have better fabrics now.
Yeah, it's not good for the undercarriage.
Yeah,
but there's a lot. Exactly. There's a lot of things that I think back.
There's a lot of sweat intermingling with.
You know what? Yeah. Do you know what is super? Because I think about this stuff because I'm mentally ill. I look at suits because I went this week to try on or to get measured and fitted for my suit for my wedding. And the thing that's in right now with suits, and you see it a lot, is the pants that stop above the ankle.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that?
Sexy ankle, like jogger style.
I believe you'd get your ass kicked wearing something like that 15 years ago.
Oh, the high waters? Yeah. It's like it's the episode of The Simpsons where Milhouse comes out in the high waters and there's a flood, and he goes, "Everything's coming up Milhouse."
Yeah, you know what? You know how in life sometimes you remember the most insignificant things for no reason at all, but you just remember it? I remember. Do you remember Jinkos? Were those a thing for you?
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I remember
in my high school, like 9th and 10th grade for me. So this would be 92, 93, 94. Jinkos were figuratively and literally massive. I mean, you'd see dudes that would take up their pants would take up half the hallway. Like, they'd be in the middle and then their pants would just fan out.
Well, during the Jinko phase, my dad refused to buy them for me. He said,
"I love your dad so much."
He would never. Did you have Jinkos? Did he buy?
No, God, no. My parents would have never let me get those.
And you got to imagine too, like, this is like a city north of Scottsdale, Arizona, and it's hot out, and people are wearing these Jinkos, and I'll never forget this. And I think that's like the day where I kind of knew I was going to be somewhat witty. but I was wearing just whatever Bugle Boy crappy jean that my mom bought me at the outlet
Bugle
mall.
Boy jeans you're wearing?
Yeah, and they were short, so they weren't. They would be
high
appropriate.
waters?
They were. I don't know if they were high waters, but they weren't baggy and they weren't dragging on the ground like everybody wanted them to. And some guy came up to me, and I'll never forget this. And he said, "Ari, I have shorts that are longer than your pants." And I turned around and I turned around without hesitating. I said, "Well, then these are shorts." And he didn't know what to say.
The jerk store called, they're running out of you?
I think I won that. I said, he goes, those I have shorts longer than your pants. And I said, well, then these are shorts. So he had nothing he was stunned. I'll never forget the look on his face. So that's a good comeback. I've been proud of that for the last 30 years of my life.
I don't want to burst your bubble,
Oh my
Ari.
God. You don't think that's a good comeback?
No.
Why?
I mean, if you just said, well, then you got some ugly ass shorts.
He said, I have shorts longer than your pants. So he established that he wears shorts that are long.
Yeah, they're shorts.
Then these are shorts. So then there's nothing.
You may as well have said your mom has shorts.
I'm just saying, like, then the discussion's over. There's nothing to talk about. Okay, well,
you shut him up. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's all that matters. That's what it goes. That's the entire point of a good comeback.
So I did a story one time on the.
I'm disappointed, Andy. I'm sorry. I'm just disappointed. I thought you were going to be. Yeah, I thought you were going to be.
You?
I thought you were going to be happy with. I thought you'd be like, yeah, that is really good.
It's not. It's one of those things that high school Ari probably thought was awesome, and now sophisticated Ari, who's a dad, who's about to marry his dream woman,
I still think it's funny.
Should go, you know what? I could have done better.
I remember walking away from it thinking, you know what, kid, you got
it. And that is how you land someone like your fiance.
Yeah.
That level of bravado that just oozes out of you, even when you don't need it.
But now you're telling me my whole life is a lie. So I guess we'll have to add something else to add to the therapist list.
So that's okay. I did a story one time on the guy who came up with the Gators wear jean shorts chant. It was actually coined as a bunch of Georgia fans, and these were Georgia students at the time, were walking into the 1997 Florida-Georgia game. That's the one where Mike Bobo went crazy. Georgia had not beaten a Spurrier Florida team, I don't believe. And Georgia won pretty handily that day. And so basically what the guy told me, and it's funny because the guy ended up working as an attorney in Tampa, and his bosses were all Florida grads, but he was the guy who invented Gators wear jean shorts. And he basically saw like two just stereotypical, what we Florida grads would call Alachua County residents. And they had their jean shorts on, their tank tops. They might've had mullets. And he's like, he might have been a little inebriated, basically points at the guys and goes, ha, Gators wear jean shorts. And just one of those great grassroots things. Everybody who was around him just starts chanting, Gators wear jean shorts. And they're chanting it as they walk into the stadium. And a meme was born before memes even existed.
How often, because you are Florida man,
yeah,
do you see jean shorts in the natural environment of your like neighborhood?
Not nearly as much anymore. But it's just a certain type of dude still rocks his jorts.
What if you drive 15 minutes out of the city and are on a road trip and you stop at the first rest stop,
first gas station you see?
Yeah, the first gas station you see 45
minutes.
A lot of jorts.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's on campus itself. The students are very fashion conscious, but yeah. And by the way, the whole Alachua County resident thing is it's meant to be an insult. I am one at this point, so you know it's cool. I might actually get the ACR 352 hat. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. I have to get some jorts to go with it though.
Yeah, I mean, I see news articles, and you know, it's not unique, but Florida man, that entire state. They saw somebody sent me something the other day of a woman in the bed of a truck on the highway holding a grandfather clock. So that while the person was going 70 miles an hour, this woman was hugging a 6-foot grandfather clock.
We had a class in college called reporting, and the guy who taught it had worked at the Florida Times-Union, the newspaper in Jacksonville, and he'd covered the police beat for a while, which means you really encounter a lot of Florida man. And so we asked him one day, we're like, what's the weirdest story you ever wrote? And he's like, I wrote a story about the cops pulling this car over, and inside they found two naked people, a naked man and a naked woman, and both of them had macaws on their shoulder. And no one was particularly sure what crime they'd committed, but the cops were certain something was going on.
They found anything in the trunk?
I don't even want it. It probably was an alligator in the trunk.
That is so funny. Is there a lot of wild animal crimes out there of people who have exotic pets when they're not supposed to?
That seems to be more of an Ohio thing, shockingly.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on the podcast, but I will. But Ezekiel Elliott's dad got in trouble for that.
Did he?
Yeah.
I mean, is it public?
Yeah. I mean, there's news articles about it on the internet.
Okay. Then yes, you're allowed to talk about it.
I think he had a bobcat that escaped into the neighborhood, and it was a real thing.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know why a human being would want to do that. Like, what would possess you to have an animal that could hurt you in your house? I don't even like when people are in my house. I want to walk around with my tarp off. The only time I wear a shirt during the day is when I'm in public.
Bobcat might rip your nipples off if you're walking around tarpless.
Yeah, I know. I put a shirt on for the podcast, and then I remove it to go back to work. If I've done an interview with you and I've written a story, when I interviewed the Bishop Sycamore, Roy Johnson, shirtless.
Well, I mean, if I get the six-pack, I'm going to be shirtless on the podcast.
Barton Simmons last week, shirtless.
Barton Simmons was probably shirtless, by the way. He's just jacked.
Yeah, he's also like at the beach right now too, so probably.
Yeah. So, but I will say my favorite Florida man story, and we'll get back to the bracket right after that. But
Andy,
my favorite Florida man story is the guy who threw the alligator into the Wendy's drive-thru. I believe that was Palm Beach County. We Floridians like to play guess the county when there's a Florida man story. He threw an alligator into the Wendy's drive-thru, and the reactions told you all you need to know about who's from Florida and who's not. Like the people from Florida or the people not from Florida, like, oh my God, he threw an alligator into a Wendy's. And the people from Florida are like, only a 3-footer?
Yeah, but I just don't know, like, what. So the alligator was riding shotgun then.
Yeah.
And somebody forgot the honey mustard, and he got angry and grabbed this alligator that was riding shotgun and threw it into the window.
I'm guessing he had gone out with the plan of throwing the reptile into a fast food establishment. That was probably how he was going to get his jollies that night. And
okay,
I don't know that Wendy's actually did anything to set him off. Did they forget his Frosty? No ketchup. I don't know.
I understand. I understand fast food rage, though. When you go through the drive-thru and you're very specific about what you want, and then you pull away before you check, and then you open your bag and it's all wrong. That deflated feeling of just like, I guess I'm just going to eat the crap I didn't want because I'm not sitting through the drive-thru again. That deep breath that you take. That's like Ben Affleck.
I don't. No. I marched myself in there.
No,
excuse me.
No, that getting fast food is supposed to be effortless. The second you get out of your car and walk
you've made an effort, and you
already
failed.
You've made too much effort for what is supposed to be happening there.
All right, back to the bracket, Ari. Here's a 5-12 game where I think the 12 may have a chance to pull off the upset. Number 5, Paul, which is very much an SEC thing. It is when you call into the Paul Feinbaum show, that is the first word you say. Versus number 12, he can make all the throws, which is kind of a cliche because it's true, but I am tired of hearing it at this point from announcers.
Are there a lot of quarterbacks at the college level, or at least the Power 5 level, that can't?
Yes, I will say I've been to some practices where I'm like, whoa, how did he get offered a scholarship?
I remember thinking, because there's been a lot of quarterback controversies when I was covering Ohio State, and I remember Braxton Miller in his prime at Ohio State was one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen at the college level. Now, that guy was never going to play in the pros as a quarterback.
Well, and also kind of gave his body to Ohio State science. Like, for the first year of the Urban Meyer era should be dedicated to Braxton Miller, like build him a statue.
But then he was replaced by JT Barrett, and the next year everybody said that JT Barrett could make all the throws where Braxton couldn't. And I think that you could make
Cardale Jones could make more throws than both of them.
That's what happened. Then Cardale Jones took JT Barrett's spot, and then they said Cardale Jones could make all the throws. And then after Cardale Jones was replaced by Dwayne Haskins,
Dwayne Haskins could make all the throws.
and it just kept getting progressively
But you know
better.
who could really make all the throws? Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Joe Burrow can make all the throws. Justin Fields could make all the throws. But I'm thinking to myself, I think Braxton Miller could probably make, most of the throws that he needed to make if Braxton Miller were 4 years older, he could win a national.
Throws.
Yes, he could have won a national championship in college. But
and again, 2012 and 2013, Braxton Miller deserves a statue at Ohio State.
Because what bothers me, Andy? The NFL draft process.
Okay.
I feel like it's too much combine and over analysis, and it's not enough film.
But it is a lot of film, because the combine and over analysis stuff is strictly for our entertainment. It is not. They're still basically going on, are you a good football player? And every once in a while you get a weird one, like when Al Davis was alive and Darius Hayward-Bay runs a 4.29 and he's like, okay, I want the fast one. But for the most part, it's, can you play football?
The NFL draft last year was 5 first-round quarterbacks in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain to me how Justin Fields was the 4th quarterback off the board last year?
Well, they thought Trevor Lawrence was better.
Yeah. No-brainer. There's one that was a no-brainer.
But no, the other ones were strictly a matter of taste. It's the same thing with Mitch Trubisky, them trading up, the Bears trading up to take Trubisky when Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson were still on the board. It's a matter of taste, and some people don't have it.
Yeah, I just think sometimes it's just like, what are we talking about? Just watch people play.
Well, the Trubisky thing was amazing to me with Deshaun Watson. And look, I know everything that's happened with Deshaun Watson. We're talking about in the draft before any of this. They played in the same conference. One was demonstrably better than the other. One couldn't beat out Marquise Williams for 2 years. That's not complicated. And by the way, Trubisky just got paid. He's your new Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback.
Is it starting to go off the rails?
We have moved away from the bracket, but that's all right. We're gonna make. I think he can make all the throws. It's gonna be an upset. I got one more in this bracket though. Number 3, Mac Brown recruited him as a safety versus number 14, Aggie is a cult. Which, if I were less lazy, I would have clipped our friend Casey Smith, Texas A&M graduate, last week going, I realized Texas A&M is a cult.
Now that I live in Texas, I hear that way more than the Mac Brown one. I think this is an upset here.
I just think you don't hear the Mac Brown one as much because Mac's not Texas's coach anymore.
Yeah.
And he recruited Sam Howell as a quarterback, and that worked out pretty well.
Recruiting him as a safety. What is the funniest out of position recruitment that you can remember? Like a coach that wanted somebody for a position, and then the person left.
This is not a coach wanting somebody for a position. This is what the late Jevin Sneed said. So take it. This is him saying this. He said that Urban Meyer told him that they were recruiting Tim Tebow as a linebacker. That is what Jevin Sneed said, because Jevin Sneed was committed to Florida. Tebow is about to commit, and apparently, they call, okay, what's the deal here? And what Sneed said was that Urban Meyer told him they were recruiting Tebow as a linebacker, which is hilarious on every level.
My understanding is that Ohio State lost out on Rob Gronkowski because they wanted him as a tackle.
Derrick Henry is a defensive end. Apparently, Will Muschamp wanted to make him a defensive end, which I don't kill Muschamp for that, because the career usually is longer as a defensive end, and Derrick Henry physically fits the mold of an edge rusher. It's just that Derrick Henry's a cyborg and is like the one guy built to do like 3 big contracts in the NFL as a running back.
And maybe those guys would have been great at those other positions if they dedicated their entire lives to playing them. So who knows?
Yeah. All right. We have one more bracket, and that is our press conference standards bracket. These are the ones that you hear all the time. Number 1 seed, no one believed in us, versus number 16. We have a 24-hour rule. No one believed in us. All right.
This made me laugh because the no one believed in us thing. or no one believes in us usually precedes the 24-hour rule.
This is true. This is exactly right.
You say it before the game, then you play the game, and then you have a 24-hour rule.
My favorite is when an Alabama player says it. And I want to be
yeah.
Everyone believed in you, sir. Literally everyone.
If you were in the college football Final Four, you don't get to have a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God. These are the ones that make my skin crawl because these are the ones that we have that directly impact us.
Oh, here's your sleeper. This is your sleeper coming up, which I love it because it's not just a football cliche. This one you hear a ton in basketball as well, and you're going to hear it a lot more if certain leagues do well in the NCAA tournament. So number 6, there are no easy games in this league versus number 11. As good of a player as he is, he's an even better person. This number 6 seed is one that could go to the Final Four.
Do you know how many press conferences I had to sit through where Ohio State was a 37-point favorite? And I had to listen to the head coach talk about on Mondays, every Monday, how if the other team puts a few things together, it can be scary. The team's not overlooking them because they're watching the tape. They are on scholarship too. That probably should have been on the bracket unless I missed it.
It's not.
They're on scholarship too. Is a good
maybe
one.
I should make a first 4.
Yeah, first 4. They're on scholarship too. Iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron.
And I just wanted to stand up and go, guys, what are we doing here? We're not. No, we're talking Florida A&M games where they're complimentary of and I don't know if it's a defense mechanism or if it's just the proper thing to do.
It's just being nice.
I hate it. And also, most Power 5 conferences, if you're talking about the big dog of the conference, I think you can make the case that 80% of their games are easy games.
Probably.
Not in the SEC. The South.
But the SEC coaches are probably the most guilty of using this.
Clemson can't go through their schedule and go, there are no easy games in this league.
Well, there weren't any for them last year.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. There are occasionally easy games in all of your leagues, even the SEC. So you don't have to be nice on Vandy Week. Sorry, Barton Simmons. All right.
Let's see if we can come up with a third Barton Simmons reference before the podcast is over.
We'll try. I brought up Yale earlier, I think. I mentioned Yale, so that counts. He's a proud Yale Bulldog. All right. Number 5, this team is closer than ever, which you hear every August or every July during conference media days, versus number 12. Of course he can recruit. Look at his wife.
I love that.
This is a potential 12-5 upset right here.
The first time I ever heard, of course he can recruit. Look at his wife. I thought that was the funniest, most keen observation of all time. I was like, that is really true. If you have a personality,
you know what it's on the level of, Ari?
Yeah,
these are shorts.
Yeah, these are shorts. God, I'm so bummed. And I guess maybe when that happened, I was more like Millhouse than I was.
Everything's coming up, Ari.
And then I heard it 100 times more after it, but it is true, in my opinion. I mean, if you are the type of man who has a personality that
you can talk someone into doing something that's below their level.
Yeah, I fooled Britt into spending the rest of her life with me and procreating. That means that I'm at least a personable human, or that I can talk to people. Now, there's people who, leave reviews on our podcast to say they hate me, and I guess that happens. But I don't know. I think that the kid that made the shorts come back ended up finding Britt. So it worked out. And maybe if you would have told me that wasn't a good comeback 5 years ago, I would be single right now.
You would not have been the guy who was never afraid to walk up to any woman.
Yeah. I think now I'm actually questioning what I'm going to do later if I have to go out.
I am glad that I never explained the Dunning-Kruger effect to you as a child. All right, now I didn't know you, but I'm glad I never explained Dunning-Kruger to teenage Ari.
I mean, my sales are down right now. We were smooth sailing, and now I'm like, there's an anchor down.
You won. That's the part.
I guess now it's over. Well, on May 1st, it's over. Yeah.
Number 2, we need to create adversity versus number 15. This was our best summer ever in the weight room.
Adversity is going to win the bracket if I fill it out.
Because it is used in so many different ways.
It is used in so many different ways, and it is the cliche of all cliches. And also, adversity isn't self-inflicted. So if somebody gets in trouble or does something against the rules and then they somehow work their way back into the good graces of the coaching staff, you didn't have any adversity. You were an asshole. You know what I mean? And you were you overcame it. And I've heard adversity as fighting back through injuries. I've heard adversity as coming back into a game when you were down. Adversity when the program was resilient through an NCAA sanction. It's
the
just
player tried to rob a drug dealer, got caught by the police, and then
he served his time and he came back and is a good person. That's not adverse. Not everything is adversity. Like, I don't even know what it's so overblown and so overused in every interview and every news conference that I don't even know what the correct usage of the word is anymore. Like, what is legit adversity?
Well, legit adversity be coming back from an injury frequently is one of your parents is sick. There's a lot of legitimately adverse conditions. I mean, half of a position group gets knocked out due to injury. That's adversity for an entire offense or defense. So there's a lot of,
I think it's the most
adversity.
Overblown cliche in the sport.
Yeah, they like to gin it up. So there's one so we got to talk about the 8-9. This might be the most difficult cliche matchup because it is a complete coin flip. Vegas has this as a pick 'em. Number 8, we're going to run an attacking defense, and number 9, we're going to be multiple on offense.
It's the same thing.
I just want what
it's a Spider-Man gif.
React defense
where they're pointing at each other. Yeah. I don't even know. There was another one that was similar to that in there. In the bracket on the other side. I'm trying to find it. But
he's a coach on the field versus he's a gym rat.
Yeah. Or we're gonna do things.
Or no, he's gritty versus he's a coach on the field.
Yeah. There's those two are the same exact thing.
Oh my goodness. No, I like we're gonna be multiple on offense because it says even less. Like we're gonna be an attacking defense. That does suggest that maybe you're going to blitz more often than defenses usually blitz, even though it's probably not true. You're just saying that because people want to hear it. But that we're going to be multiple on offense does not mean anything.
I don't even know what it means. Does it mean they're going to be really good at throwing and really good at running?
It means they'll have a bunch of different formations. Paul Johnson, by the way, never said they'd be multiple on offense, but he did say that the triple option is a big play offense.
Yeah. Man. I hope that coaches read this.
They won't. And it won't change anything.
I know.
Listen, if somebody's paying me millions of dollars, I'm going to say the most bland, boring thing. I'm not going to get myself canceled so I don't get made fun of on a podcast.
I think I would be the most. Yeah, you're not going to be the Arizona State athletic director who says that we're not going to do NIL and we're going to focus on developing talent.
Well, that's just stupid.
I think if I were the
by the way, former agent.
I think that if I were the subject of interviews, that the SID would pull me out of the rotation really quickly. Like I think I would be. And also, Andy, what is wrong with saying we're going to beat their ass?
Nothing.
It's football.
You're supposed.
What are you supposed to think?
You're supposed to want to win. Like that's not even expecting to win. That's just wanting to win. Or you can say we would like to beat their ass. Like. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not bulletin board material. We expect you to feel that way.
Like, what if I were the starting left tackle at Alabama and we were playing Vandy and I got brought out to interviews and they were asking me questions like what, like, and the reporters too. You got to know those reporters who still somehow write notebooks and previews. Ask the question. So what do you have to, what threats or what problems does Vanderbilt pose? I'd be like, bro, we haven't lost to Vanderbilt in like 100 years. We're a 47-point favorite. We're Alabama. We're going to kick the shit out of them, and I'm going to be out of the game by the end of the second quarter. Like, why couldn't somebody say that?
Because at one point you're going to lose, and I wish I could remember some of the times that someone has come out and said something like that, and then they've lost. You're immortalized forever. Like you are forever clowned
I
for
would
that.
say that. I'd be like, what problems does Vanderbilt cause? Buddy, I'm going to be on the bench in the second quarter drinking Gatorade. I don't know what you're talking about.
I would like to, because I wonder, like, I admire a lot of coaches for their patience with some of the dumb questions that we ask. I would not have any patience for stupid questions. And so I would be saying things that would either wind up as bulletin board material, get me in trouble with the AD, get me in trouble with the fan base, get me yelled at by the reporters, like, because I just couldn't put up with some of the questions.
But I wouldn't want to come across like Bo Pelini.
No.
Like when you're just kind of like mean about it, you know? Or
that's how I would come across, I think, because I would get impatient, snippy, especially if I'm hungry.
I think I'd be humorous, snippy.
I'd be funny as hell.
Yeah,
but
I think I would try to be funny. But you know, listen, I covered Urban Meyer for 7 years and he never snapped at me, and I think there were times he probably could have. So you know, I understand. I could have been Jeremy Fowler a few times, but you know, if I were a coach, I don't know that I would have the same patience.
You're a good guy, Ari. You're a good guy.
I don't know. I get really angry in public.
Of what he called Jeremy Fowler that one time.
Oh yeah, you're a good guy. Yeah, you're a good guy. Yeah. I get very impatient in public, Andy. I don't know if you know that about me.
I've come across that once. I get very impatient when I'm hungry. So I had a T-shirt that said, "I'm sorry for what I said when I was hungry."
I don't have any patience whatsoever for incompetent people in public.
I don't either.
If I'm like trying to watch somebody figure out what airplane seat to get into, or asking weird questions at a rental car agency, or not figuring out how to open the overhead bin in an airplane, like I'll say things like, "Are we doing okay?" Like I'll ask people in public, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I don't say anything. I just simmer silently because what I want to say is, "Dear dumbasses, open the bin, put your suitcase in, and sit down."
Yeah. No, I simmer and then I explode. Like I can't hold it in. And I almost got my ass kicked at a blackjack table in Vegas once doing something like that. So
what did you do?
We could talk about this some other time, or we could talk about it now.
No, let's talk about it now.
I decided to play big hand blackjack, and I was at the end of the table, which was my first mistake. And I think I was at a $15 minimum, and I was playing $200 hands, and the dealer was showing a 6 or something, and the guy next to me had 13, and he hit, and Jack came out, and I had a lot of money in front of me. And I had 20.
And that was your Jack.
No, I had 20. I was done.
You were good. Okay.
And the dealer flipped or had a 6, and he flipped a 10 underneath because, of course, he did. And the next card that came out was a 5. Oh, and I won it. And I looked at the guy and I said,
"So that was the dealer's Jack."
Yeah. Well, it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire. And he busted. And I said, "What the hell are you doing? You just cost this entire table a bunch of bleeping money. Get the hell out of here." And he was like, and he got up in my face. He's like, "What?" He goes, "What the F did you just say?" And it was just like, "I'm sorry." I was like, okay. Yeah. Because I get mad because
I imagine when he's in your face, you're like, "Sir, you were not playing basic strategy."
Yeah. No, I was just like, I don't want to get into a fight here, but I'm sorry. And that was
you did want to get into a fight though. Don't be that guy.
Well, I don't want to get into a physical confrontation that's going to lead me out of a casino in handcuffs.
Silently simmer in that case, Ari, because if you say that, he's within his rights to get mad at you and physically threaten you.
Yeah, well, it worked out okay. I didn't get hurt, but I do I have a temper, and I have to work on it. And if we ever have Britt on the show, she can give you a long list of things I have to work on.
Yeah.
Bill Burr said this once in a stand-up
potentially
special.
having the wives take over the show one day this summer, and we just are not allowed to be in the room while they talk and just compare notes.
Yeah,
it could be our best or our worst episode.
I don't know. I don't know. It kind of scares me because Britt gets going and she'll let you know. And it's funny. Bill Burr said this in a stand-up special, and it's always funny. He goes, "The one thing I learned about being in a relationship is we're always working on me," and it's true. The man is always the thing that needs to change, and it's like she's a perfect final product. Nothing to improve. And it's just like the 900 things that I've got to get better at. But, I think that's just being in a long-term relationship with a woman.
That's exactly right. Ari, It's NCAA tournament time. When the people are going to hear you on Stars Matter on Thursday, probably as they watch basketball. You and Mitch will be kibitzing about recruits and the basketball will be being played.
Yes.
We will be back together on Friday. There will have been basketball, tournament game, like not first four, like the real thing played by then. It's going to be a blast. We will have the results of the college football cliche tournament. We will see.
And I'm excited to banter about this online too.
Oh yeah. It's going to be fun. Ari, they're shorts.
For shorts. Do a poll. People think it's funny. I think it's funny.
You showed him. You showed him.
I like to think that he looks into the ceiling at night before he goes to bed next to his family and wonders, I got body bagged that day.
Well, he needs to buy some shorter shorts or some longer pants. That's all there is to it. We'll talk to you later.